It's my visa bill. Envelope 1 of 2. That can't be good.
Open it.
Hey everyone, today I want to take a look at a short story arc here from Friends, where Joey Tribbiani gets himself in some credit card debt. If you don't know Joey, he's this guy.
Hey, how you doing? 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 Hey, how you doing?
Don't!
I really like Friends, and for a long time growing up, it was always on right after the news, so I've watched quite a bit of it, but it's been a while, so I'm curious to see how this goes. Now, to set the scene up here, this short story arc spans several episodes and starts off with Joey getting a new professional opportunity.
Hey. Hey! How'd the callback go? It was unbelievable. I walked in there, and she was all over me.
So what'd you do?
Well, I couldn't do it. I told her I didn't want to get the part that way.
Good for you.
Well, wait. But then after I left her office, she caught up with me at the elevator and offered me an even bigger part.
So, and?
So, you are now looking at Dr. Drake Ramoray, neurosurgeon, recurring in at least 4 episodes. All right, I gotta go shower.
Okay, so he didn't get the job in the most honorable of ways, but we're here to look at the financial aspects of the situation, and from that perspective, this is possibly a big break for Joey, who's been struggling professionally.
I've never gotten reviewed before.
In a mediocre play, Joseph Tribbiani was able to achieve brilliant new levels of, continued on page 153, sucking.
In fact, it was not long ago, only about 5 episodes ago, where Joey was stressing out over Ross's birthday party.
While Russ is on the phone, everybody owes me $62 for his birthday. Come on, we got the gift, the concert, and the cake.
Do we need a cake?
And even had to ask for help picking up a coffee bill for Monica after she just got fired.
I just got fired. Oh. Here's your check. That'll be $412.
Let me get that. You got $5.
Okay, so the first thing to note here is that, as Joey states, this is only a 4-episode stint on Days of Our Lives.
Recurring in at least 4 episodes.
This might be a big break, but it's looking pretty temporary. When a short-term opportunity arises, you almost always want to be staying away from any major life changes until you have something more concrete to work with. So we'll see how Joey does with that, but he's certainly excited as he starts getting some airtime.
Oh, here's my scene.
And things actually start going even better for him. He gets a very minor movie role, and even starts paying Chandler back for covering some of the expenses that he took on while trying to get his career going. He also splurges a bit and upgrades his living room, buying a new TV and some recliners that he can share with Chandler. So far, Joey's purchases all seem reasonable. A TV, some recliners, paying back some IOUs, all seems very reasonable given the circumstances. We'll see if Joey can keep it up.
Can you believe this place?
I know, this is a great apartment.
Hey, we were just saying, great apartment, man.
Thanks. You want it?
Huh?
Yeah, moving to a bigger place. You should definitely take this one.
Yeah, can you see me in a place like this?
Why not? You hate park views and high ceilings? Come on, I'll show you the kitchen.
Now, from a financial perspective, this is probably the first major mistake Joey's made. He's very impulsively considering a major life change here. He wasn't looking for an apartment. He didn't set out to find a new place to live. By even entertaining the notion, he's starting down a path that can be very hard to get off as the excitement and other emotions build. I see this a lot with people who keep Zillow or other push notifications coming through to their phone. There are so many good reasons to turn that stuff off, or realize that when you give companies permission to push notifications to you, you're essentially inviting them to pop into your life and possibly distract you and try to get you to do something they want you to do instead of what you want to do. And trust me, they're very good at doing this and knowing how to get you engaged and ultimately spend some money in one form or another. Now, Joey's excitement starts to create some tension with Chandler, who fears he may be losing his roommate.
Can we drop this? I am not interested in the guy's apartment.
Please. I saw the way you were checking out his moldings. You want it.
All right. You want the truth? I'm thinking about it.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm 28 years old. I've never lived alone, and I'm finally at a place where I got enough money that I don't need a roommate anymore.
Whoa. I don't need a roommate either.
Okay, some pretty major mistakes here. First, note how it's a lot of ego involved in this little argument. We've got both Joey and Chandler talking about how they can afford to live on their own. We have this, well, I can too dynamic going on. We've got guys with big egos who are now making an emotional decision and not a rational one.
Okay, I can afford to live here by myself. You know, I may have to bring in somebody once a week to lick the silverware.
What are you getting so bent out of shape for, huh? It's not like we agreed to live together forever. We're not Bert and Ernie.
Look, you know what? If this is the way you feel, then maybe you should take it.
Well, that's how I feel.
Well, then maybe you should take it.
Well, then maybe I will.
Fine with me.
Great. Then you'll be able to spend more quality time with your real friends, the spoons.
Making big financial decisions for emotional reasons is almost always one of the worst things you can do. And even when we're talking about decisions that don't have tension like this, giving yourself a cooling off period before any major commitment is almost always a good thing to do. If you're accepting a job, moving, whatever it might be, there are very few cases where I wouldn't recommend sleeping on it and giving yourself at least 24 hours before you make any major commitments. So Joey does end up moving out and getting his own place.
So what do you think? Casa de Joey. Huh? I decorated it myself. Get out.
Yeah, check this out. Is it a coffee table? Is it a panther? There's no need to decide.
Oh, the best part. Come on. Huh?
Hey! Nice toilet.
No, behind it.
Well, you have a phone in here?
That's right. I have a phone in here.
All right, so as you can tell, pretty swanky place for Joey. Obviously, he spent a lot of money, and we'll get back to that here in a minute. Now, I know this is a little off topic, but I got a kick out of the phone in the bathroom. I remember staying at a fancy hotel in Chicago when I was little and thought it was the craziest thing that they had a phone in the bathroom. Fast forward to 2022, and now everyone's taking their E. coli covered phones into the bathroom.
Ew.
But honestly, who is anyone calling on these corded phones in the bathroom? I just don't get it. But back to Joey's decision to move out. Again, very rushed, very emotional, and now he's even at the point where he's on the phone with Chandler watching Baywatch because he's lonely without a roommate. Joey actually has second thoughts and considers moving back in with Chandler, but unfortunately, Chandler already has a new roommate. Chandler's new roommate ends up being a total creep.
What are you doing here? Nothing, Roomie, just watching you sleep.
Both of them end up being pretty miserable and really missing each other. Now, at the same time, professionally, things have actually been going well for Joey. However, then he ends up doing an interview for a soap opera publication, and he brags about making up his own lines. The writers on the show get mad. They decide to kill him off by making him fall down an elevator shaft. And that brings us to the point where we start to learn about the financial issues.
It's gonna be okay. You know that.
No, I don't. It's like, you work your whole life for something, and you think that when you get it, it's never going to be as good as you thought it would be. But this so was. It changed everything. Like, the other day, I got this credit card application, and I was pre-approved. Huh? I've never been pre-approved for anything in my life.
So here we have some foreshadowing of the trouble to come. It's important to note that when it comes to credit cards, it's crucial to understand how easy credit card companies want it to be for you to get access to their products. Joey definitely got bit by that here. You don't want to run off with a credit card you were pre-approved for if you aren't going to use it responsibly. And of course, folks like Dave Ramsey will make some good arguments for not using a credit card at all.
When you use a credit card, all of the studies, and there's tons of behavioral studies out there that show this, you spend 12 to 18% more than when you spend cash.
And it's not like you need perfect credit to get hounded by credit card companies. In fact, you may get pursued even harder without stellar credit history because, in some ways, credit card companies can actually prefer if users are going to maintain a balance and rack up some interest. Oftentimes, the most responsible users pay off their interest every month. It may not actually be as profitable as some other users who are still going to ultimately make their payments, but generate some interest along the way.
It's my Visa bill. Envelope 1 of 2. That can't be good.
Open it.
Oh, my God.
Whoa.
Look at this. How did I spend so much money?
Joey, that's just the minimum amount due. That's your total due.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, I guess you can start by driving a cab on Another World.
What?
That audition?
That's a 2-line part.
So suck it up, man. It's a job. It's money.
Hey, look, I don't need you getting all judgmental and condescending and pedantic.
Toilet paper?
Yeah.
Okay, so Joey's defensiveness in this situation is not good. It's good they at least open the statement. There are a lot of people who will avoid opening up statements and bills out of discomfort. Financial therapists might refer to such behavior as money avoidance. Here's one reference from some professor friends of mine that I happen to think highly of, where it stated that people with money avoidance scripts systematically avoid dealing with their money while rejecting personal responsibility for their financial health. Fortunately, Joey's not doing that here, but I think it warrants mentioning this type of behavior because it is a real challenge for many. But while Joey did at least open it up, in his response to Ross, he's not looking at a situation from an objective, matter-of-fact type perspective.
You're supposed to be my friend.
I am your friend.
Well, then tell me things like Joey, you'll be fine, and hang in there, and something big's gonna come along. I know it.
But I don't know it. What I do know is that you owe $2,300 at Isn't It Chromantic?
Hey, Ross, I'm aware of what I owe.
Okay, well then get some sense. I mean, it took you, what, 10 years to get that job? Who knows how long it's going to be till you get another?
Look, I don't want to hear this right now.
I'm just saying.
Well, don't. Just say.
Now, giving unsolicited financial advice is often an easy way to provoke an unhappy response, but it's clear Ross is just trying to be helpful here. He wants Joey to be able to get himself out of debt, and taking on extra work to help pay the bills is a very rational thing to do. But you can tell the thought of doing that is really eating at Joey, who would much prefer to be moving in another direction professionally.
What's going on?
I'm taking all my stuff back. I guess you were right.
Okay, so this is a very responsible thing for Joey to do. Sometimes when you find yourself deep in a hole like this, looking for anything you can return or sell is a great first step. Dave Ramsey talks about this all the time. Get rid of the luxury stuff. Sell your $30,000 car and buy a $5,000 car. Downgrade whatever you can. Have a yard sale. Do whatever it is you can to scrape together funds while you're still in this step of getting out of debt. I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey's baby steps, and when you're in that baby step 2 of getting rid of consumer debt, you really need that gazelle intensity that Dave talks about to get focused and get rid of that debt. When you're buried in debt, you will have to make some sacrifices to change your circumstances.
So, you want me to help you unpack your stuff?
Nah, I'm okay. Oh, and just so you know, I'm not moving back in because I have to. Well, I mean, I do have to, but it's just that place, it wasn't really, I mean, this is...
Welcome home, man.
Okay, so now our story arc here wraps up with Joey moving back in with Chandler. We've come full circle, but Joey got himself in some credit card debt in the meantime. So what should Joey have done differently here? Joey actually missed one of the biggest financial opportunities that people have when they have some upward professional movement, like he did. I've actually written about this and recorded a podcast for the Wall Street Journal on this particular topic. The key here is understanding the concept of lifestyle creep, which refers to our tendency to increase our standard of living as our discretionary income rises. I personally love the approach of trying to save a high percentage of any raises that someone receives. Think of it this way. If someone is already living comfortably on $50,000 a year and they get a raise to $70,000 a year, there's a huge opportunity to boost their savings rate with this $20,000 that they weren't previously earning. Let's assume our hypothetical individual here wasn't saving anything before. That $50,000 was what they needed to cover all their day-to-day living expenses. If they just committed to saving 50% of their raises, that's $10,000 worth of savings that they'll now have going forward, and they've shot up from a 0% savings rate all the way to a 14.2% savings rate. That's awesome. That's almost the full 15% that you target on baby step 4 of Dave Ramsey's baby steps. That's a huge opportunity. And that concept, trying to save a high percentage of your raise, works whether you get a $20,000 raise or a $2,000 raise. This is also why a lower paying job right out of school can actually be something that you can turn into an advantage. If you set your initial lifestyle on a lower income and you're comfortable with that, then as your income rises, that gives you an advantage over somebody who might have started out at a higher income and bought a car, apartment, and everything else based on that higher income. Personally, if I get a pay raise from my university, I like to log into my HR website right away and automatically boost my savings rate going into my 403b or 457b. If I've already maxed those out, I can go in and just add more to a taxable brokerage account. I do like to make sure things happen automatically. By automating it, I'll just continue to get by on what I was getting by on before, and I won't really feel any difference. But in the process, I can be drastically increasing my savings rate. That's the brilliance of this approach. Your lifestyle stays the same, or even goes up a little bit, but your savings rate goes up a lot. And when we talk about lifestyle creep, this can be so important because, as counterintuitive as it might seem, if someone is just saving a fixed percentage of their income while their income is growing, and if they're letting their other spending grow at the same rate as their income, they can actually be moving backward in terms of how prepared they are for retirement. Michael Kitces, who blogs at Nerd's Eye View, has a great blog post titled "The Real Reason Big Savers Retire Early." He has an example in this post where we have a hypothetical saver named Charlie, who's 25, earns $50,000, and saves a constant 15% of his income. But as Charlie's income is growing at a higher rate than inflation throughout his career, this growing lifestyle of Charlie's requires even more money to maintain in retirement. And therefore, his retirement savings shortfall is actually growing, despite the fact that he's accumulating close to $2 million by the time he's 55. But if instead of saving a constant 15% of his income, Charlie committed to saving 50% of every raise he receives, as shown in the orange lines here instead of the blue lines, then his fundedness for retirement looks drastically different, and he's actually fully funded before age 55. But the key point here is that by saving more, you aren't just building a larger nest egg, but you're also constraining your lifestyle, and therefore your spending need in retirement as well. Now back to what Joey should have done here. I think this is a great case to apply Dave Ramsey's baby steps and work through that. For those who aren't familiar, those baby steps are: save a $1,000 starter emergency fund, pay off all debt except a mortgage, save a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, save 15% for retirement, fund children's education, pay off the mortgage early, and then finally, baby step 7, build wealth and give. So we don't know exactly how much cash Joey had once things started to turn around from him, but let's assume he had at least a starter emergency fund of $1,000. Next, we would be on to paying off any consumer debt other than his mortgage that he might have. Now, we don't know exactly what the rest of his financial situation looks like, but it sounds like credit cards are pretty new to him, and maybe not something he actually had before. But we at least know he was paying off other debts like the IOUs he was paying back to Chandler. Continuing down the baby steps, I'm guessing his focus should have really been on building a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. In fact, given how inconsistent an actor's income can be, this would be a case where I could even see going above a 6-month emergency fund. Let's say he had 12 months of expenses saved up. Think about how different of a professional trajectory that could have put him on. He could say no to the taxi driver role.
That's a 2-line part. I was Dr. Drake Ramoray.
He'd be in a better spot to hold out for whatever he really wants. When it comes to the lifestyle upgrades, I'm fine with the recliners and TV. That's pretty basic furniture for an apartment. But I wouldn't want to see Joey even considering any major lifestyle upgrades, like the apartment change, until he's completed baby step 4 and he's putting at least 15% away into a retirement account. Perhaps he might use a Roth IRA, SEP IRA, solo 401k, or similar type of retirement plan for what I presume would generally be 1099 independent contractor work. Now, as a single renter without children, getting to baby step 4 actually places Joey in sort of an interesting place. Baby steps 5 and 6 don't really apply, so technically he could go straight to baby step 7. That said, if Joey had desires to own a home or even potentially have children in the future, I wouldn't be opposed to him starting to work on saving for a down payment, as well as even getting some funds set aside for education funding, perhaps in a taxable brokerage account or even a 529 account in his own name that could be transferred to a child for future education funding needs. But that's the beauty of the baby steps. If Joey were following them, he'd have a very clear map and set of instructions for what to do next. And that clear set of instructions, that plan for action, would have helped him avoid moving to another apartment and splurging on $12,000 glass parrots and all sorts of other ridiculous stuff. Another thing that Joey really probably needed to use is a budget. Now, I know for a lot of people, budgeting is like pulling teeth. There's a few people out there that actually enjoy the process, maybe some of the weirdos in accounting, but most people don't. I personally like to budget by giving myself a savings target. If I define and automate my savings, then so long as my monthly expenses don't exceed what I have in my bank account, it really doesn't matter if I track down exactly what percentage of my income went to food versus clothes. With that said, if you're struggling to make your cash flow work month to month, getting on a budget where you're diligently tracking everything may be the only thing that's going to bring about that change for you. There are lots of great tools out there, apps like EveryDollar, Mint, You Need a Budget, among many others. And there are even some different philosophies around budgeting that may be more or less appealing to a particular individual, such as zero-based budgeting, envelope methods, and others. That's too big of a topic to dive into here, but the key point is that Joey probably would have been wise to get himself on a budget, at least until he was very confident he could transition to more of a pay yourself first type approach, where he's regularly setting aside a healthy percentage of his income each month and never seeing his expenses exceed his income. So to summarize here, the big mistakes Joey made were, first, he didn't have a plan or framework in place, something like Dave Ramsey's baby steps, to help him know what his next step would be. Second, he acted at several times very emotionally about his money and not rationally. Third, he didn't seize the opportunity to significantly boost his savings as his income went up. Fourth, he didn't build out a cushion or an emergency fund that could have actually helped support his professional acting goals as well. And fifth, he wasn't operating off of a budget. Well, what do you guys think? How could Joey have handled this situation better? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And if you like this content, like and subscribe, because I'm having fun putting these reaction videos together. I look forward to doing some more of them. And if there's a question you want me to answer or another video you'd like me to react to, leave a comment. I may cover it in a future video.